1, 2, 3. When I was 19 years old, I woke up one morning and I was praying in my room, and I sensed the Lord say something to me, which was, Tim, I want you to consider going into church leadership. And sometimes you hear the Lord right, sometimes you hear the Lord wrong. And that particular morning I said, well, God, that sounds like a great idea, but I'm going to need you to confirm this. So anyway, I went on my day, and so this was the Wednesday, and then fast forward to the Sunday, I went to church, and this was a big church, a meeting of around 600 people. And at the end of this church meeting, the church leader stood up at the time, a guy called Charlie, and he invited different people to go forward for different callings in various sectors and various industries. So for the church, for education, for politics, all these different things. So anyway, I responded to that call for people to go forward with church leadership. And so I went forward, and then what happened then was the thing that really convinced me. Charlie got down from the platform, he wiggled his way through the crowd, and he came and stood in front of me, and he said, I've got a word for you that I believe God's spoken to me. And he said this, Tim, I sense the Lord is leading you into church leadership as someone in the Church of England, as a leader in the Church of England. And I really sense that God has been speaking to a student in our church in the last couple of days specifically about this, and I believe that person was you. Now, when I heard this, because it was so specific to my situation, like my jaw dropped to the ground, and I knew that God was on my case, that God was calling me to this particular thing. And so when I look back to that moment and think, why am I doing this? It's because God called me, and I can be confident that I'm doing the right thing with my life because I know that God is with me, and it's His idea in the first place. Last summer in 2023, a couple of friends came up to me and said, there's this job going at St. Peter's Farnborough, you should check it out, Tim. So that's what I did. We came down, we had a look around, and over the next weeks and months, God began to speak to us in different ways, which convinced us that He was calling us to this place at St. Peter's. And so one of those words was the day before I came here for an interview, actually, where 4 people came up to me and said, Tim, I have a prophetic word for you, a word from God. And these 4 people weren't connected to one another, and they all said the same thing, which was this. They said, Tim, I sense God's calling you into a new season of leadership within the church. And they had no idea what that meant, but I knew what that meant because the very next day I was going to go to this interview here at St. Peter's. Anyway, I got offered the role, and over the months that followed that, before I started here, God began to speak so clearly about the things that He was going to do in this place. He's going to work in power, which was one of the words that I believe He's been speaking to me, through bringing healing, through bringing freedom to people who need freedom, through breaking addictions. And I also got this sense that God was saying that we need to prepare the way for Him, prepare the way into our hearts, so that we can welcome Him in every way in our lives, so that we can be transformed by His love. And so I'm so excited to be here, St. Peter's, and I'm so excited for the journey ahead of what God's going to do in this place. I have such an amazing family. I'm married to Claire, and I've got 3 beautiful children, Louisa, John and Isaac. Being a parent and obviously being a husband, requires a lot of investment and a lot of work. And me and Claire, I think we're a really good team. We love walking together, we love spending time in the outdoors with one another, and we love doing life and ministry together. And one of our great privileges is, of course, bringing up our children, and we have so much fun bringing up our children. They're the best. But of course it comes with challenges as well, those sleepless nights. Claire is much better at waking up than I am in the middle of the night to see to the kids while I just keep snoring away. I'm not very good at that. But there are so many challenges with what it is to be a parent. But I'm convinced that, the ministry of being a parent, there's nothing more important. I'm going to fail at so many things in my life, but one of the things that's so important to me is to be a really good dad and be a really good husband. And I'm really excited to see how our lives as a family will continue to grow and to develop over the next weeks, months and years.